Hi, Jesse Grimes here. Welcome back to the channel. So we're almost done with this backyard ecological landscape project. We've got all the mulch, or all the gravel pathways down. Last video I finished trimming off these boxes over here. Now we're ready to plant. So what we've been doing is sheet mulching these growing beds here. They're also the water retention basins. So we're putting the cardboard down. That acts just like a weed block fabric, except over the years it will break down and just turn into soil. So its purpose is to just kick back the weeds for this first season and then turn into soil later. So we're going to plant this up with succulents, and before we do that we're going to wet this cardboard down to help it stay in place and then put the mulch on top. So we finished mulching this basin here. We put these plants around the fountain here. They're called hen and chicks, and those are kind of a border to keep the mulch from falling into the fountain and getting in the rocks, so that's holding those back. And then we spread the cardboard out and we'll put down about 3 inches of mulch. It might settle down a bit, that's why we're watering it right now. But you want that good thick layer of mulch because that's going to hold moisture in the soil. So the water from the roof, when it rains, will settle into the basin and soak into the ground, and then this mulch will help keep it there. Alright, so we're going to continue planting back here and finish off the project here. One of the big things we got to do is get rid of all this extra dirt back here. So when I dug the water harvesting basins, that means I got to take dirt out in order to lower the level of the ground back here. Ended up with a lot of extra dirt. These garden beds over here were kind of built to take some of that dirt, but because the backyard was so much higher than the porch, we ended up with that extra. So what we're going to do is, it's pretty good soil. Put it on Craigslist, free dirt, bring it out to the curb and somebody will pick it up. So we're going to go ahead and move all that right now. So after we moved all that dirt, we smoothed it out a little bit, and this is what we came up with here. So there's a bit of a slope, just really gradual up to the wall, so we retain a little bit of that dirt. And then we've just run the bender board kind of in a curve up against the bricks here. What that's going to do is separate two areas out. So this area here will be more of this gravel, and with a few of these gray stepping stones in here to kind of extend this little patio off, give you more room to walk. And then on this side, kind of the same thing. You're going to have gravel in there, maybe some more of these red tiles just to fill in this corner for that walkway. But the reason I wanted gravel over here is that this is going to be the spillway, so when the yard does overflow, it's going to kind of drain out of this corner over here. So if there was mulch in this basin, that mulch might float with the water, and then you'd end up with a trail of mulch down the side yard here, which I don't want. So that gravel will kind of catch any debris, and it'll be heavy enough to stay in there when it's overflowing. So that's pretty much it. We got the weed fabric down, and we got to put some mulch in here and plant it up, and we're not much closer to being done. So we got our gravel laid in here, and it's all ready to receive the mulch. So before we do get the mulch, there's a lot of other small things to take care of in the backyard. Mainly this back area over here, we got to finish laying down weed fabric on this mound, and that mulch will go there as well. But we've cleared out this fire pit area where the decomposed granite is, and I can start working on the borders and edges here. We're gonna mulch all around behind here against the wall as well. And then also I've had to deal with this here. This was a palm tree stump. So there's a palm tree that was planted here by a bird probably, and owner ended up letting it grow, and it grew up to be about 20 feet tall, and it was cut down a couple years ago, leaving this big stump. So thankfully it's rotted out a little bit, and I've been able to dig it out, but there's just thousands of these things. They're like little straws. A lot different from a tree root, but still just as difficult to get out. So I've been digging those out, using this crate to kind of filter out the dirt, and I've already filled up 2 buckets full of those, so you can see how many there are. So I'm going to continue cleaning this out so that we can get this DG refreshed and all leveled. And then what I'm going to do today is I'm going to continue this brick border. This brick border goes all the way around this area except for this one spot from this corner right here over there along this planter. So I'm going to lay some bricks in there and kind of finish that off. And that'll create a good border for me to put some bender board and and mulch this part, so I'm going to work. Alright, so I got my little brick edging laid in, and I've also gone and taken some of the soil out of this area. Over time, this palm tree and the roots from this podocarpus have raised this area a little bit. So we're going to refresh it with some new decomposed granite, and so I had to get it down a little bit, especially along the edges here, so that I can hold the new DG in. I've put a lot of that dirt up against the wall here, and so I just got to smooth these out and clean up these edges. And then I can put the bender board and some more weed fabric in and get this part finished off. So I finished laying down the bender board and weed fabric over here, as well as on the rest of the mound. So we're getting ready to put more mulch down. I've got a load of mulch in the driveway right now. We decided to use a little bit of these roots from the palm tree just as mulch underneath, just to do something with them besides throwing them away. So we've got those under there. We're going to cover them with the new mulch. And then I've also finished doing the sheet mulching on this part. So I put this cardboard down here, similar to inside these basins, and that will break down over the next year or two and turn into soil. So we're going to do a mulch in the bottom of this area as well, much like I've got going on over here. So we're going to start moving that in here and get this place finished off. Alright, so there you go. I got the rest of the mulch laid down along the back corner there and the rest of the mound here, as well as that mound over there. So over the next few days, we'll be planting in some of these succulents we have here and filling in the rest of the mound and some of the other parts of the beds here. Getting really close to being finished. So there we go. We've finished pretty much most of the planting we're going to do. There's a few more little things to figure out, but for the most part that's done. And the yard's looking really good. I just did some repairs on this little archway thing. It's going to set in right there. First I got to paint it, or stain it with the same stain I used for these boxes. This all turned out well. Got the mulch in there. Artichoke's doing really good. We've got a lot of seeds and stuff coming up in our garden now. Got some different greens, microgreens and arugula and tomatoes. The beans over here just started coming up. Beans and squash. So this will be growing really nice in a few weeks. So we did have a little bit of rain last night and over the past day. About a quarter to a half inch. It's kind of a slow, steady rain. But I did get to observe the yard while it was collecting water in these water harvesting basins. So the water, as you've seen before, comes down from this downspout, comes into the yard right here, and then that flows into this basin. This is lower than the rest of the yard right here. And so I came out last night, and you can see in this gravel, this gets flooded right here, and it also gets flooded over in the mulch area. And then that mulch will help hold it in. So let me show you a different part of the yard where we haven't mulched yet. So right here you can see there's no mulch here yet, and this dirt, it has been rained upon, same as everywhere else, but it's still dry on top. There's some moisture once you dig down inside, but it's not, you know, it's starting to dry out already because this soil is exposed to the air, it's exposed to the sunlight, and it can just evaporate right out of that soil. So right here we've got it mulched, you dig into the mulch just a little bit, it's dry on top, but as you can see, it's wet underneath. And as you dig further down, it gets even more wet. There's our cardboard from the sheet mulch. So this cardboard is plenty wet, so you can just rip it apart. And the soil down here is very wet. So as you can see, this basin, not only did it collect the water that came from the rain, but with the mulch over it, it helps hold that water in the soil. So that's why I put a good thick layer of mulch over all the planting areas in this yard. So like I said, that's about it for this project. There's a few little things I need to tidy up and a bunch of loose ends to tie up, but I think that's about it for the videos as far as the project goes, doing the project. Next video I'll come back with kind of an overview of the design and all the different ecological functions of everything. So I really hope you enjoyed watching this series. If you want to support my channel, please go out to patreon.com/JesseGrimes and become a patron. I'll see you next time.